And what it is Toros Tuesday. Time to talk some football. Make sure I'm getting all the socials and everything going here. This is going to be a fun show tonight. But first, before we get to all that, BD, I had a really great location to come from, and I 100% dropped the ball, man. I'm sorry. So,
man, I got one. What is up? I am BD.
Okay.
Today I'm coming at you from the Use Guys Studios. Use Guys Philly cheesesteaks.
That's not even funny.
Pat Booker Road. They've been there
funny,
forever. Bro. They used to be really good, and then they've kind of went downhill. Kind of ever since I started working in the office and over in that area, because I tried them a few times. I was like, well, these aren't really that good anymore. And then about a year ago, Malik's Philly's Famous moved into the neighborhood, and they're amazing. And Use Guys is now out of business. So,
yeah, that's extremely hurtful because I know they just went out of business recently, and that just stinks.
They're building a barbecue.
But anyways,
Davila's barbecue in that building. So we'll see. We'll see when they open.
Yeah, but I'm not sold. I'm just saying that. But you know what I am sold on is our guest tonight. It's God dang it, I'm going to screw up his first name again, and we just talked to him. It's Talib Salahuddin. He is defensive lineman, played for University Incarnate Word, a couple of other places, currently playing for the San Antonio Toros. This guy is an absolute beast, and he's kind of one of those gentle giants where, you know, big presence, kind of quiet, kind of reserved. He absolutely destroys, and we want to bring him on as quickly as possible because there's no way I can do an introduction good enough to really hype this guy up. You'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So, Talib, come join the show. How are you, man?
How you doing?
How's it going, man? How you doing today?
Not bad at all. I mean, been a long day, but we're here now.
That's good, man. It's been a couple days enjoying the victory from Sunday night.
Say again?
I said spent a day or two enjoying the victory from Sunday night.
I mean, I try not to spend too long, ruminating on any victory or any loss. Always focus on what's next.
Well, cool, man. Well, maybe let's start off with kind of tell people about yourself, kind of where you're from. I know you went to San Diego State and then UIW. Kind of where'd you go to high school? Kind of what brought you to those schools and stuff?
So I went to high school out in California, a school called El Camino Real. That's a public school. Spent about 3 years there. My last year, I just wanted to face some better competition for my last year, give myself a better opportunity. And so I enrolled myself into a private school, and I went to a private school for my last year, and just played some better competition. But it was during COVID and whatnot, so didn't get too much burn with the colleges, even though we had a good team. I had a good season and whatnot. It was only 5 games. This wasn't enough.
Man.
But I ended up going to junior college right out of high school, and I played 2 years at junior college, Riverside City College. And after that, I had a couple offers. I chose San Diego State. That didn't work out as well as I wanted it to be. Very fun place to be, though. But yes, Incarnate Word was where I ended off my career, and I just felt like God put me here for a reason, and I felt like I've enjoyed my time in San Antonio.
Excellent.
Very nice. So, you obviously you went to UIW, played a couple years there. Now you're playing with the Toros. What do you enjoy about San Antonio, man?
Honestly, I really just enjoy the people I keep around me. I feel like I keep very good people around me. Very godly, very philosophical, if that makes sense. It's people I like to have fun around.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool, man. So What what kind of I was coming back, from UIW being here. What drew you to the Toros?
The Toros came to me. We had a pro day and whatnot. We had a bunch of scouts out there, including the Toros, and I remember I got to meet Jerry Glanville at my pro day, and I remember my coach was kind of like talking him up a little bit after the fact. I didn't know any of this as I was speaking to him, but just the experience that came with this coaching staff, I think that was my biggest enticement. Also, we were supposed to be playing at the University of Incarnate Word as well. That was a very big thing for me. That didn't end up happening, but you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
I'll tell you, Coach Glanville, man, he is one of the smartest football minds that's out there, and I'm sure probably more than we do because you're working with him every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, genuine genius. He really just knows everything, and he kind of schemes up things that we don't even think will happen, that he doesn't even think will happen, but he's ready for it.
I mean, it's working so far. You guys are 3 games in, completely unscored on.
Yeah, I can't even speak to that. That's God's blessing. I've never played 3 games and really done that before, but it's completely possible with the group of guys I'm playing around. I got some incredible teammates, some guys with a lot of experience as well, and they just build each other up. I feel like so. I'm
sorry, what was that?
Sorry,
I missed that last thing.
Oh yeah, I just feel like they build us all up, and it make it easy for us to compete with each other.
Very nice.
So let me ask you this. You're on this incredible squad. I mean, obviously, besides Jerry Glanville, you've still got some other incredible coaches and just legendary coaches. What is it like from a player's perspective to be around all of these guys, not just the Glanvilles, but Coach Bedwell and everybody else that's on the staff, right? Because every one of these guys has made a pretty big name for themselves in the football world. So what's that like?
Honestly, it really just – I feel like it really just makes me hold myself to a high standard and the guys around me to a high standard. Our defensive line coach, also Coach Hill, coached in the league. Our DB coach played in the league for, I believe, 10-plus years. We just have, like, that core, just kind of forces me to be a better person, be a better player. This is my first pro opportunity, and this is as pro as it can get. I feel like that our defensive staff runs it as pro as it can get.
So what's kind of difference from UIW college to pro? Like, what's something that you've learned being with the team on the pro staff that kind of you didn't know before?
I really feel like,
or maybe that you didn't know, just something that you've something that you bettered yourself in, I guess. Let me say that.
I really feel like I bettered myself with time management. I remember I showed up here on the first day to the first meeting. It was at 3:00. I showed up at 2:45. The meeting was already started.
Whoops.
I just felt like that, meetings. I was definitely early to, in college for meetings and whatnot, but meeting times down here, things start early. You got to get to places before the coach gets to a place or you're basically late. I feel like that was one of the biggest things for me, especially when I first started.
Excellent. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about football. What drew you to a defense? I'm assuming that you've pretty much always played a defensive position in your career, correct?
Well, I only started playing football in high school, and when I first started playing, I was actually playing a little bit of receiver and linebacker. But literally my first summer, I left eighth grade, made the football team. In my very first summer playing football, I fractured my left wrist, and I basically missed the rest of summer practice, and I didn't play that whole JV season. And I kind of came back very, very late into the JV season, and I didn't play much at all. But I kind of always had a sense of pride about myself, and that kind of fueled me to work hard on my own. And I spent like a whole winter break just working on myself, working out every day in this small shoebox of a gym in my mom's apartment complex. And someone hit a growth spurt as well. So I went from about 5'9", 165 to about 6'1", 185 in about a month. And it came back and they said, yeah, you're going to put your hand in the dirt. That was it.
Okay. Well, and that pretty much answers, my question as to what drew you to defense. It looks like that insane growth spurt and the fact that the coaches saw that and they're like, no, we really need you being one of the big guys on the up there on the line.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say that. I remember right after summer training, we were drawing numbers and whatnot. And there's a JV line, and there's a varsity line, and obviously I'm standing on the JV line. I just got done playing some JV, or really not playing for JV at all. And I remember just after that summer training, I get up there to choose my number, and I go to write my number down, and my coach says, no, on the other side. And I said, huh? I looked at him like he was crazy.
Nice.
And he said, you're gonna be playing some defense from now on. And yeah, that's really all it came about.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean that's got to be an incredible feeling, thinking that you're going to be on JV and all of a sudden they're like, no, you're up here with the big boys. So
genuinely.
So again, we can tell from interacting with you, there's this, silent confidence. You can see, the twinkle in your eye, but you don't necessarily say a whole bunch, but you do a whole bunch when you're out on the field. So talk to me about what type of player you are out there. Are you somebody that gets like super hyped? Are you super focused? Are you kind of just, rolling with the punches, adapting as things go? Like talk to me about your player style.
I feel like my playing style has definitely evolved over the years. Like in the past, I've been, had talks with my coach. I've been a very emotional player. I would let, trash talk get to me. I talk trash back. I've even, it's not ashamed to say it or not proud to say it. I've thrown a punch in a game. I didn't get a flag for it. It was, some dirty stuff going back and forth and whatnot. But I really feel like it's taken a long time for me to get to this point in my career to where, I don't let a lot of things affect me, whether it's people taking a cheap shot or talking crap, but I feel like, the type of player I am on the field is, someone that gives fanatical effort. I feel like if you watch the film and I'm on the field, no matter where the ball ends up, I'm usually I'm near it almost every time, whether someone just made a tackle, I'm always chasing towards it. Someone, going out of bounds, I'm, just retracing my steps. But I just feel like I want to be the most dominant player on the field, offense or defense, anytime I step on the field. And that's just how I try to play.
You kind of answered the next question I had. It was going to be, are you a trash talker? So I guess you used to be, but you're not really anymore.
I was never the type of person to talk trash. First off, I would never start a game talking and call someone trash or whatnot. But I'm always quick. If anyone says anything to me, that's the way to get me activated. But for the last 2 seasons, that's pretty much not been me at all. I'm the type of person to laugh in your face when someone talks trash to me.
Well, that actually is a very mature and a very good answer, right? That shows that you're growing, not just in the game, but also growing emotionally to where you can kind of harness that energy and redirect it and put it back into your play, right? And those are good things that coaches are looking for.
That was basically, Tim Duncan's method, on the court. He would never talk trash. People would talk trash to him, and he just kind of laugh at them and then, go score 30 and, hit bank shots in their face. So, and that would piss them off more. So, like I said, that's a mature way to handle it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with guys, especially these last 3 games, that they'll come out in the first quarter. They're very rowdy, they're very full of energy, they're talking a lot of crap, and I don't ever say nothing back. I give it a little chuckle every now and then, but always by the fourth quarter, they're always saying good job 4-4. That's a good rep right there. It's always a switch. So I know the switch is coming. I don't need to talk trash back.
Well, good. So that kind of answers another question that we were going to ask. But let's go back in your history and compare it to now. Let's look at a situation. Maybe it was a big game or a big moment in a game or something like that, where adrenaline's on overload, emotions are on dialed up to 11. How you handled those situations back then, and then I kind of think we understand how you would handle those now. But let's look at kind of how you were as a player back then in a big situation. How would you have handled yourself?
We talking college or high school? What we talking?
Really kind of up to you, but I would say probably in your earlier college career.
Mm-hmm. So like junior college.
Yeah.
What's it called? In junior college, I'll be honest, I feel like I got into a lot of fights.
Okay.
Like a lot of people pretty much just didn't like the way I played. When I kind of struck people, I kind of struck them up here, kind of grabbed their pads a little bit. They would always end up with, I didn't wear a lot of gloves. I didn't wear gloves back then. So they would always end up with some scratch marks or something like that, or, I'm breaking some skin. And, a lot of fights would start that way, like during practice and, during games and whatnot. But I was never the type of person to throw a punch back. I like to kind of laugh in someone's face and kind of see them get ejected or something like that. But I'd say the highest stakes moment I ever had to deal with, somebody called me the N-word with a hard R during my last regular season game when I was a junior college, and something just told me just to kind of just take his head off right then and there. But I was able to, my teammate pulled me back. I ended up going to the ref, going to my coach, and just for the rest of the game, he just had a target on his head.
Yeah,
I mean that's a good way to do it. I mean,
clean his clock.
Yeah.
I got to say, man, that's just, we're old, right? We're not cool. We're not hip. We don't understand younger people in the vernacular and stuff like that. That is one thing that we know. You don't use that word. Like, that's just not acceptable at all. And so I'm sorry that you had to experience that. That's just poor sportsmanship.
It's life. Stuff happens, I guess.
So let me ask. So you talked about kind of, I guess when you were younger, you a lot more kind of up to the top. Have you changed that style? Are you kind of a little lower when you're blocking or trying to rush whatever, or are you still kind of just trying to get away to the guy or through the guy however you can?
I definitely used to play a lot higher than I play now. It's taken me a lot longer. I don't know why to get into my head or to really stop thinking about it. For a long time, for me to stay low, I had to actively think about it during a rep to actively stay low. But I would definitely say my play style has definitely evolved. I was definitely a one-trick pony when I was in junior college. The long arm was working, and that's what I used. The long arm was working when I was in San Diego. That's what I used. And it was even working when I got here, but it was just time to evolve my bag. I'm throwing a lot more jab steps, a lot more double swipes. I'm ripping more. I'm going to the arm drag. I'm doing a lot more than just bullying people, and that's what I just used to do. So I feel like my play style definitely has evolved.
Is that something you learned kind of your last year or so at UIW, or is that something you kind of picked up here with the Toros?
No, that's I pretty much picked it up my last year with UIW. I feel like I was coming off a very mediocre junior season here at UIW, and I just feel like I need to take my game up to another notch. And I just feel like deepening my bag was the best way to do it. We had a coach, Coach Mabry. He's now the defensive line coach at UIW. But when I was there for my last spring with him, he was our assistant D-line coach, and pretty much every day after every spring practice, me and him would get some form of something in, after practice, with his pass rush or, recognizing blocking patterns or whatnot. But I'd say that was probably my biggest help. That was probably my first big turnaround my last year in college.
Well, obviously, I mean, the numbers reflect that. I mean, you had, up across the board tackles, and I mean, you went from 1 sack the first year to 4.5 the next. So obviously, like I said, you added more to your game, and there was a marked improvement. So,
So offhand, do you know what your stats are right now currently?
No clue.
Excellent. See, and that's one of the things I definitely wanted to ask and see kind of where you're at, because you did mention it before that you're not focused on the win, you're not focused on the loss. That assignment is done. You're focused on the next assignment.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, they passed out a thing called like a hit list or a hit chart after the game, but other than just telling me how many times I hit a person, I don't know how many tackles I have, how many pressures. I think I know I have 1 sack at least. I don't know how many TFLs. But yeah, no, I'm really just focused on building better film than really building better numbers. I feel like if I'm focused on the film, the numbers will come.
So just if you're interested, last game you had 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. So
yeah.
Sounds about right, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I
don't have the stat sheet from the previous games. I have the one posted from the last game, so that's why I know that one.
So I mean, yeah, the position they got me playing in, I feel like I'm more of a true edge rusher, but the defense we run has me in a 4-eye a lot, and no team we play can beat it. So that's what we're gonna run. And when I'm on the edge, I win on the edge. And as long as I can get that film of me winning on the edge, that's all that matters.
Oh, yeah. So what was I going to ask? I had a question, and I totally lost my train of thought there.
Well, if you want to think of it, I got one.
Go for it.
All right. So what do you do to get hyped up before a game?
Honestly, I feel like I do a lot. Like compared to me in college, where when I first started out, I definitely do a lot more. I got these bands that I use. I do a lot of warm up my ankles, my knees. I walk around barefoot. I do certain things barefoot to start to, I don't know. It's just an internal process for me now, and I feel like my warm up is a lot longer now. It includes besides the bands, about a 20-minute stretching session. I'm listening to my hype music. I take a little bit of pre-workout before every game, liquid IV. I'm on this new thing. It's called Celtic Salt. I don't know if it's necessarily new to other people, but it's new to me. And I like to take every legal advantage I can, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what music is your you said you got your music going? What are you listening to?
For the entire pregame last game, it was G Herbo and Michael Jackson, and that was the only 2 people that was in my ear for the entire pregame.
Okay, well, I don't know the first one, but I definitely know the second one, and I don't know if that would necessarily be my choice to get hyped up, but there are some good songs that'll get you a little bit energized for sure.
I can see it. I can totally see it.
But
yeah, I don't usually go for I'm not a very outwardly hype person. I feel like I'm a very inwardly hype person. Like what's the analogy? Like I'm not like the red hot burning fire. That's burning everything. I'm like more so like a white light of fire, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, controlled,
very, very concentrated,
a controlled burn.
Yeah,
right. And that way you can unleash it whenever you want, and you can pull it back whenever you need to. Mm-hmm. I can definitely understand that. So what we ask this, and it's a fun, silly question, but what like pregame rituals do you have, or what's up, Miss Jen? Is there any like superstitions that you have? Do you have to put your left sock on first and your right sock on your hand or something? Like, anything crazy like that?
Honestly, I kind of do have a superstition that I just broke for the last game. Anytime I would wear a sleeve or whatnot, if it's just one sleeve, it always has to be on my right hand or my right arm. And I don't know, just something.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it was very uncomfortable too. I'm probably never going to do it again. But I wore, a single sleeve on my left arm, and I definitely didn't throw off my game or anything like that. But I don't know. It's just very weird. Something I won't do again.
Understood. I mean, again, just about every single professional athlete has something that they do, whether, it be some kind of, ritual or superstition or whatever. I know we had started an adult softball league, several years ago. I wound up actually breaking my leg doing it. That shows you how athletic I am. But I slid. I was safe. That's all that matters. I don't care about the injury. But no, from, back in my high school days, I always had the silly superstition of making sure that I took a shower before we went out and played, because I had to be clean. I had to be ready, right? Well, I did the same thing, not even thinking about it. I did the same thing when I started playing softball, and I caught myself one day and I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm going to go get dirty, and here I am taking a shower, right? So I always find those little superstitions like that to be very interesting. People can be a very quirky species.
I will say, in junior college, for my last year of junior college, I don't know if it was necessarily a good superstition, but I had these game socks. They're long black game socks, and I only wore them on game day. But I did not wash those until we lost, and we won every game that season until the state championship. So.
See, that's the kind of traditions I like to, or the superstitions I like to hear. That.
Yeah, I'm sure the Sox are probably able to stand on their own after a while. But,
I mean,
hey,
they only been
whatever works for you, man.
13 times that year. That wasn't that bad.
Only 13. Okay, so who were your idols growing up as a young man? Like, what players did you idolize? What players did you want to be like? And who would you say your gameplay is most like at this point right now?
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't really grow up a big sports fan. I wasn't, like I said, I didn't start playing until high school. I wouldn't say I was an unathletic kid, but I definitely wasn't in sports or anything growing up. The extent of my athleticism was, riding my bike, swimming in the pool, running around with my brothers. And I didn't really, I didn't really watch sports too much growing up either. But I'd say when I started playing, the person that probably fueled me the most was TJ Watt. And I feel like the person who I, try to model myself after now is Daniel Hunter for the Texans. I feel like his play style is just the ideal way I want to play.
Nice. I mean, those are pretty good idols and pretty good role models to pattern your game after. I mean, they're obviously successful. They're in the NFL for a reason. So that's pretty impressive. I'm hoping one of these days somebody's going to say that they idolized Reggie White. The problem is, if they idolize Reggie White, they're going to be somewhere around my age, and they probably won't be playing football anymore. So, so that's probably need to give up on that dream. So you've been down here in San Antonio for a while. What do you like about San Antonio as a city? Like, what cool things do you like to go and do? What kind of hobbies do you have or whatever? And what makes San Antonio so much better than Austin, Texas?
I feel like my most favorite thing to do down here is probably go thrifting. What's it called? I'm a very creative person. I make clothes. I have my own little clothing brand, and literally everything in my closet is either something vintage or something that I made. So I feel like that's probably my biggest pastime. If I'm out down here, I'm chilling with somebody I mess with, and we're going thrifting. We're getting some ice cream. We're having a good little day out. Pretty much, yeah.
Excellent. So in that regard, I would say maybe Austin might be able to hold a candle to us because it's Austin. Okay. Well, I recommend you go and check it out because Austin is very eclectic and very artistic, and he's going to come back though.
Yeah, but yeah, he'll come back. I guarantee you. But then he's been to Austin, and like, why? Why?
Brian, we've been to Austin. That's why we don't like Austin now. Well, I'm not going to say why we went because then it might encourage this young man to go there and check those things out, and then it's going to cause trouble, right? So we don't want that. No, I love San Antonio. I used to enjoy going to Austin. It's really not that bad. I mean, they've got some issues that they're dealing with. Places like DFW, Houston, everybody's going to have their own little quirks and stuff. But the thing I like about San Antonio is even though we're the 7th, possibly the 6th largest city in the United States, we're the biggest small town you are ever going to find anywhere. Like literally, you can go to, and it helps that BD and I are very sociable people in the first place. But I can literally go to any corner of this town, and chances are I'm going to run into somebody I know. Try and do that in like New York or Dallas or something like that. You're a stranger among 20 million people, but here, because we're at about, 2.5, and everybody seems to know everybody, it literally is, you're just hanging out with, 2.5 million friends,
I've said this before. I've said this to my friends a lot, that this is the biggest, smallest town or biggest, smallest city that I've ever been in my life.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's totally like that. It's just everywhere you go, everything takes like 20 minutes to get to across the town most of the time. Traffic's getting a little bad now, so it may be a little longer, but you run into people, you see familiar faces all over the place. So it's really cool. What's your favorite place to eat around here?
Honestly, it's not even like a place. It's a food truck. It's a yellow food truck. It's called Tacos El Regio. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably not. But that food truck, I think it's somewhere on St. Mary's. It's best tacos I've had in this city.
Really? I might have to go check that out.
It's right next to the not too far from the strip or whatnot. But yeah, I've had that multiple times. I've driven. I've taken someone on a date there before. Like it's not bad.
Very nice, very nice. I'm always looking for a good taco truck, man. Those are you see them all over the place, but really good ones are kind of hard to come by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
I for sure.
There by one of my teammates. He was definitely right.
Yeah, there are some really great places around here. And another thing that makes San Antonio better than Austin is, we know what a real taco is. They know how to make a fancy sandwich in a tortilla. It's not the same, okay? But we are famous for those little greasy spoon restaurants, those little holes in the wall that, oh, by the way, on Insta, My Winning Lifestyle is giving a shout out to you. It said 44 with a bunch of exclamation points, and then Talib Real Baller. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, yeah, they can definitely hear you. So
they can hear me. Oh,
you just can't see their comments. But I haven't figured out how to be able to feed the comments from Insta into our live chat.
We're not that advanced yet. We're two old guys talking about football. So
I
can turn a PS5 on and then play a video game, and that's about it. So
pretty much all you need to do, to be honest. As long as you guys know what you guys are here for, is football. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, it's Miles. Okay, I couldn't even see his picture. Okay, so yeah, now I feel bad. Okay. Obviously, my eyesight's no good also. So there you go. that would be horrible then to get me involved in a game because I'm probably going to wind up tackling the wrong person and then still get messed up. So yeah, I think I'm going to stay in the stands.
So I would say so while we're kind of talking, bagging on Austin like they rightfully deserve, like how bad are you guys going to beat them again this week?
It's always hard to beat any team twice, but as long as we could. No, I can't even say anything. It'll just be a fun game. It'll be a fun game.
See that's the mature political answer, and kudos to you for saying it. I'm gonna say what you want. You know what? We went 124-0 last week or last game. You know what? They're lucky if we're not gonna double that score. 48-0. So we're gonna destroy Austin.
I will say that we will score in the second half this time. I will say that. I can't say that at least.
Okay. Well, and that's good. Again, we know how talented you guys are, but I don't want to take anything away from any of the other teams, right? There's a bunch of talented guys across the board in this league. And we've seen in every single game, we have seen the guys who are out there, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, even though they're losing, 56-0. They're still in the game. They're still fighting. And those dogs are definitely dogs. Hopefully they're getting good, footage for opportunities later. And I don't want to say that, there's not necessarily any bad players. There are just some that have a little bit more fight in them than others. And unfortunately, it does show up in the games. But for this Saturday's game, go out there. You guys put in the work, do your thing. If you shut them out, great. If not, cool. At the end of the day, we're going to be here to support you guys no matter what you do. Okay.
That's one of the big things that our coaches talk to us constantly about. It's never about them. It's always about us. It's never us versus the syndicate, us versus Tall City. It's just always Toros versus Toros. And if we could beat the players that we were the last week, that's beautiful. Honestly, that's all that matters. But to add on to what you were saying about the players, players that have more fight in them. One of my good buddies, not good buddies, one of my best friends actually, his name is Dominic Oliver. He's number 33 for Tall City, black and gold. He did not tell me he was playing in this league. He did not tell me at all. I remember I was, warming up, pregame. I'm in the locker room, and one of my teammates comes inside and says, "Hey, someone outside named Dom wants to see you." I said, "I only know one Dom, and I know he's not here, so I don't know who this person is." I go outside, and it's the one person that I know named Dom. And, he's just a phenomenal player. I don't know if Pete last game, he was number 33, throwing all the spin moves and whatnot. But, he's I'd say one of the best players in this league defensively. And I feel like, if we don't account for him next time, you're going to give us a lot more trouble.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's cool.
So go back to Tim's question, because this is one that I was working around, getting towards. This is obviously a shorter season, right? You only had about 1 week of preseason camp and then the preseason game. How's the chemistry going in that? How is that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how is that helping you? Because it seems to be much more advantageous for you guys than some of the other teams.
I really felt like from the first day of camp that everybody knew what we was here for. We're here to build a professional program, to build a professional organization, and to run it as such. And even though this is a first-year league, a first-year team, when you get a bunch of individuals together with a common goal, and our common goal wasn't even necessarily to win games or to be undefeated or to shut these people out. Our goal is to play good football, is to play pro football, and it was just known from the start. I felt like that team chemistry was really built during that first week of training camp. even though we know everybody wasn't gonna make it, I feel like a lot of people, especially being in the environment we're in the hotel and whatnot, it kind of forces everybody to bond a lot more. If that makes sense, yeah, bond a lot more. We're definitely right now.
So ironic that you say that. That was one of the things that my girls, I've got 3 daughters. Well, I've got technically 5 daughters, right? 3 daughters, 2 stepdaughters. And the 2 oldest ones are really heavily involved in soccer. Mm-hmm. And I coached them when they were younger, but I mean, what the heck, coaching little kids in soccer, just all you got to do is keep them on the field. That's all you really got to do.
You know what? Sometimes that's not easy, because my daughter played soccer when she was in elementary, and she wanted to run around with her best friend who was on the other team the whole game. So you know what? Keeping them on the field is not easy.
I mean, that fair enough. But when they decided to get more serious about it, and we actually went to club soccer, that was one of the first things that our coaches did, was set up games out of town where we had to stay together, over the weekend at a hotel, and didn't really realize it at the time. But after a couple of times of doing it, you start seeing those relationships change and people starting to bond and get tighter. And then you see the gameplay get better on the field. So I 100% support, especially in a situation like this where, it's not like you're going to have a neighborhood where you can have like 20 houses all together or something like that, right? Use the hotel, because that's what it's besides a place for you guys to stay and, take care of your business and whatever, it's also an opportunity for you guys to build those stronger bonds and grow closer as a team. That way, you as a lineman know that your guy to your left, well, I guess it would be for you, it'd be to the right. You know where he's going, you know what he's doing, so you can focus on what you need to do and be there to back him up just in case, right? The quarterback knows where the receiver is going to run to. He's not going to make a mistake and juke to the left when he was supposed to go post route to the right. All that's extremely important. And that's why I said, I think from what I've seen, the bonding and the chemistry really has worked to you guys' advantage as far as being a team.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
We've seen some of the other teams, and we've seen a couple of guys that are close, but they're over in one section. And then there's another group of guys in a different section. And it's like offense and defense kind of hanging out together. But they're not with their other teammates on that side of the ball, So,
I've seen a lot of dysfunction among some of the teams we played, in terms of just, how the team is ran from top to bottom, and just, how players talk to each other. I remember at preseason game, Fort Worth Braves, remember the second drive we came out, I saw the receiver cussing out the old lineman, the quarterback telling the other guy to, cussing them out too. It was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, I don't know whether they come to face us and they figure out it's not going to work and they start turning on each other or what, but it's been happening.
You know what, we sat on the visitor side this last game, and we saw a little bit of that too. Frustrations kind of run a lot, especially when the game's not close. So it definitely it's kind of a you learn. I guess you learn a little bit about yourself, kind of in situations like that. What kind of what kind of player you are, what kind of person you are. So
100%.
Yeah. So you being a guy on the defensive side of the ball, how much energy do you get from the crowd feedback? Like, our defense is out on the field. We're getting loud and crazy in the stands. Does that help you? Does that hold you back? Does that distract you? Like, how do you feel about that as a player?
I always love the crowd of anybody that'll come, spend any time watching, me and the guys that, I play with, play some football. I always have any love to anybody that, like I said, anybody that will come and sit down and watch that game. That this last crowd was probably the biggest crowd we've had yet. And I definitely feel like that helped us a lot. Like, I turning around and seeing, kids and people, rowdy people, people getting a little drunk, people talking crap to the other team. Like, honestly, it just makes the experience that much more fun.
So do you hear us when we're, because
I hear it.
Okay. Well, and I do apologize for some of the stuff that we've done. We maybe we've gotten a little bit out of hand. But the one thing I'm definitely not going to apologize for is my false cadence calls, because we got a false start because of it. And I think we've gotten 2 this season so far.
I've definitely heard the false start cadence. I've heard that.
So if you hear you hear the people yelling height from the stands, that is us 100%. So,
I did not know that was you guys. I thank you. Yeah. Well, man.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that we're that loud with as old as we are, but yeah, no, that's us. That's what we do, man. So that is good to know that, us being there supporting you does give you energy, does get kind of, help push you a little bit harder. Because again, that's what we're here for. That's what our job is as fans, is to support you guys, because you're the ones that are out there taking the hits and abusing yourselves and laying your own bodies on the line for our entertainment. So the least we can do is get loud and rowdy for you guys and get crazy and, cheer you guys on. Right.
We always appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, obviously, we're pretty much killing it. Looking forward to next season, provided you're still here and you haven't gotten picked up by a Canadian team, or maybe gotten an offer from the UFL, or hell, maybe even an NFL camp, right? If you are here next season, and I hope that somebody picks you up and sees how good that you are, but I'm selfish. I do want to keep you here so you can keep dominating, right? But if you do wind up back here, what do you expect to see next season as far as teams and talent and things like that?
In all honesty, I would just hope that the level of competition betters itself, and I'd hope the level of the playing field is a lot less uneven. I really felt like this staff did the best job in this entire league with recruiting, with the way they're running things. I feel like our ownership group is the best ownership group in the league. I just feel like from top to bottom, we're just a better ran organization. And I feel like the next year, I feel like a lot of the people will follow suit. And that's what I hope.
Yeah. No, and definitely, you see it not just in the scoreboard. You see it on social media. You see how, our team is out there more. They're advertising. They're posting things. They're posting stats. They're posting the God, my mind just blank. The lineup, kind of before the games. They're out there, and you don't see that as much from a lot of the other teams. Hopefully, the other teams in this league see kind of the way San Antonio is doing things, and well, hey, they're dominating. They're getting more people into the stands. They're getting more people watching the streams. They're obviously beating everybody, handedly. Let's kind of see what they're doing and kind of mimic that a little bit, because I mean that's definitely that's best for the league, is when all the teams are up here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I apologize about that little interruption there. My dial-up isn't doing so well tonight. So that's a joke for people that are old like us. You used to have to actually use a phone line to connect to the interwebs.
Hey, I've used a phone line before. I've used one of the I forgot what the actual name is, but
the rotary phone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to have one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure I still do somewhere. But okay, so we definitely expect a higher level of talent. That way it gives you guys better opportunities to actually show what you can do. And that's ultimately what the goal of this league is, like BD said, right? The coaches' jobs are to try and get you better, get you game film, to get you opportunities. And it's easy to make things look great, when you're stomping all over a team, but you get better game footage when you're in those dog fights of the games.
Yep.
and you're putting in the extra effort and you're really having to try. So,
and that's when you grow as a player as well. If you got somebody who's kind of challenging you on the other side of you, you're going to be a better player by playing them. So, again,
and honestly, I'd say I'd never say never. I really feel like, if we didn't come out and we didn't focus on us and focus on our game plan and, knowing exactly what we have to do and not, go out there and try to physically dominate people, we can lose. We're human just like any other team, any other, person. And it's always possible for us to lose. It's always possible for us to let up a touchdown or not score or whatnot. But as long as we come in and we focus on, what we know we can do and do what we have to do, things will reflect that.
For sure.
So let me ask you this, because this is one question that we do like to ask everybody, kind of a retrospective question, if you will. You're on your way up, advancing in your career as a professional football player, looking to get to the next level. There's probably young men going into junior high or high school now that are looking up to guys like you. What would you tell them they need to do or they need to focus on in order to make it to those next levels?
I really feel like if you want to be able to make it to the next level, you got to be able to separate yourself, and separating yourself doesn't only come when you're working out with your team. Doesn't only come when you're working practicing or in games or whatnot. Really separating yourself is what you do when you're not on the field, when you're not with your team. I really feel like you got to be obsessed with this. You got to be, in the film room as much as possible, whether that's on your own or literally at your facility. You got to be, getting in a lot of extra work and not just, working out. This is a longevity game. You gain, or you get to the next level with longevity. Taking care of your body is the biggest thing that you would ever do for yourself. Doing, maintenance on your knees, your ankles, your shoulders, your elbows, all that stuff is probably the most important thing you can do to separate yourself from the next guy. Because I guarantee the next guy isn't worrying about, what if my knee starts hurting in a couple weeks? If you strengthen your knee now, your knee will never hurt. And that's all I can say about that.
Excellent. Okay, so this is about the time where we kind of start closing stuff down, because we do still have to do our corporate shout outs and try and appease our one sponsor that we don't have. It's a joke. But I'm also interested in this clothing line, because if I can get some fresh threads to make me look a little bit better and maybe not like an old fart, I'd be interested in that. But
there's no clothes that will do that. Just I'm sorry to burst your bubble right now. No clothes will do that.
I could put the trash bag over my head. I mean, that's always helped before. Anyways, why don't you give everybody your socials, how they can find you and follow you and track your career and be able to post positive things for you.
Got you. My Instagram and my Twitter is just my first and last name, Talib Salahuddin. That's TalibSalahuddin. And the little business page I run with clothing line is called Fronto. That's Fronto. And Instagram is Fronto USA. Everything I do with my little clothing brand is handmade. I do all the screen printing myself. I do all the designing stuff myself, and I don't make two of one thing. Anything I make is like it's a one of one. I'll never make another thing just like that.
So how did you kind of develop that? I don't know if it's a passion that you have for it, or just how did you come to learn
100%.
Hey, I'm good at doing this. I like doing this.
I've always had a passion for art and drawing and whatnot. And once it was started making clothes in 2017, and that was around like the it's called the Hype Beast era. I don't know if you know about that era or whatnot, but that was with the very like Supreme and all that that stuff like that. I remember, wanting the clothes and not being able to afford it. So I always knew I could draw. And my mom is a vendor by trade, so she kind of taught me how to sell stuff, how to be my own person when it comes to talking to people and whatnot. And my mom knew how to make clothes, and I seen her do it. Seen her heat press stuff, and I just kind of took it and ran with it. I started drawing stuff in art class, and then I would tell my buddies like, "Hey, see this? Just watch." And I would take it home, recreate it online, then I'd put it on a T-shirt. Then I'd come in the next day with that exact same piece of art on my T-shirt, and it just kind of grew from there. I've always had a passion for clothes, and just making clothes is another way of me just expressing that passion.
That's awesome.
Excellent. Did you get your degree in like any kind of art stuff, or what did you get your degree in?
No, I got my degree in business administration, but I've always been very active in like the communities, like the fashion communities of whatever school I'm at. I would set up sometimes at the University of Incarnate Word to let me sell myself out there. So yeah, just anytime I could, I would just showcase who I am, outside of football.
Very cool, man. That's really awesome to hear.
Excellent. Well, we will make sure to continue to give you shout outs for your clothing line. And, hopefully some of our cooler fans go and check out your stuff and buy some stuff. But definitely, man, this has been a great interview. I always enjoy talking to people that are interesting and energetic, and you did not fail. You did a great job tonight. I really enjoyed this interview.
It was fun.
I really appreciate y'all having me on. Thank you so much. It's definitely been an honor.
Well, I think the honor is more on our side, but we appreciate that. All right, man. Well, we'll go ahead and cut you loose. If you want to hang around in the back room for a little bit, you can. But we'll probably be a little while, so I get it. You probably have football stuff to do. But again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And we'll definitely, say hey to you at the game this Saturday. And we'll be there to cheer you on when you stomp another goose egg into the Texas Syndicate. Sorry, not sorry. Okay.
All right, man. You have a good rest of your week, man. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Take care
on
buddy.
Saturday.
All right.
See you.
Vamos Toros.
Vamos Toros.
Okay. So now it's just me and BD.
Yes. And, while we're here, I want to kind of talk a little bit about something. It's been, it's been a minute since we've had a do better moment, Jay.
Yeah.
It's been a little while, and I think we're due for one. And we kind of touched on it a little bit in the interview with Talib. The fans cheering at the games. There is absolutely nothing wrong with rooting your team on, cheering, and even talking a little bit of trash, as we have been known to do many, 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 many times.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you get to a point where you are demolishing the other team, 30, 40 to 0, you kind of got to back that off as a fan base. There's such a thing as winning with grace. And there was a contingent of our fan base that did not do that this past weekend. They were yelling at players, cursing players out, telling them you suck, you're a bum, you're terrible, you'll never make it, stuff like that. And stuff like that is completely uncalled for. That's not even stuff you should say just in a regular game that's a competitive game. Again, support your team. Have fun with the players. You can talk a little bit of trash. You can maybe try and frustrate them a little bit, get in their heads. That's fine. But there comes a point where you just need to honestly just sit down and shut up. And when you're beating a team 40-something to 0, the time is to sit down and shut up at that point. It's not a good look for us as a fan base, for us as a city. It is, it looks like we are, just trashy fans, to be honest. So obviously, again, when we go and beat the Syndicate, whatever we score to 0, when it gets to that point that it's a blowout, win with grace. Do better. Be better fans. Support the league. Because, again, these guys are out here busting their ass, playing hard. They don't need some douchebags in the stands telling them that they're terrible when they're having, they're not having a great game, but they're still out there trying. So do better.
Yeah, and not to spend too much time on it, and don't worry, I know I like to ramble, but for the fans that didn't have such a good experience here, I want to personally apologize. I don't know that it was, necessarily all on me, but I do feel that it is my responsibility to offer the olive branch and make the apology. So for the fans that we've dealt with, if I've offended or any of us have offended any of you, I do sincerely apologize about that. We are trying to make sure that we are not that fan base, and we will do a better job being more active in policing ourselves to make sure that those things don't happen, because ultimately we understand the sacrifice that your player that you're cheering for is making for all of our entertainment, not just ours or you guys or whatever. It's for the whole entire league. So we apologize. We will try and do better, but we're not even going to try and do better. We will do better. Okay.
Yeah. And I personally had to call out some fans in the game, hey, to chill out a little bit. Unfortunately, they kind of continued to go away from where I was. I would hope that other fans will do the same. If you see someone acting like a douchebag, call them out, tell them to chill out. I mean, it's just there's no place for that in sports.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's not just our team playing on the field. It's also us in the stands. We represent this fair city, and we don't want anybody to think that this city is just absolute garbage, right? There's a lot of fine folks here, and they don't need to be lumped into a bad fan group like that. So, okay, I think we beat that horse enough. So, real quick, because we don't have enough time to talk about it, but I do want to give a heads up and a shout out to the San Antonio Gunslingers. They did pick up a new quarterback, who it's a quarterback that you're actually familiar with, BD.
So you were telling me that, and I meant to go look it up, and I have not yet. So
yes, the quarterback's name is Zach something or another. I can't remember his last name, but he was the quarterback who beat, I want to say Ole Miss or somebody like that, who was going on a tear, and they weren't supposed to beat, or they were supposed to beat the Aggies, and this quarterback wound up running the table on them. And
Zach Calzada.
There you go, Zach Calzada.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know who he is. Nice.
Yes. He played his first professional indoor football game this last weekend and absolutely went lights out. Did an incredible job.
We put up 70-something on him?
Yeah. And that's the highest scoring game that the San Antonio Gunslingers have had in the last probably 2-3 seasons for sure. So shout out to them. Good job on the pickup. Keep him around because, again, the playoffs have not been completely decided yet, and San Antonio could get in. So keep that boy in, keep him healthy, let him eat, man. And then I think that's pretty much about it. But we want to do give shout outs to all of our friends. First and foremost, Big Red, thank you guys for setting up across from us again and hanging out with us. We had a great time with them at the tailgate. Our friends over at Alamo Pits and Grills. They did the giveaway, and I didn't catch who won it this weekend, but they did give away a barbecue pit. And then I believe this next weekend, we are going to be having a barbecue competition. So good luck to them, because BD is bringing his world famous syndicate sliders, or syndicate smoked sliders, right? I think that's what we're calling them, because Syndicate's getting smoked this weekend, so they may as well have some good food with it also. And then, of course, BD's world famous potato salad, and Toro Tim's famous Toro Punch. And I'm going to bring something. I have no idea what I'm going to bring, but I'll figure it out. But so shout out to Big Red, Alamo Pits and Grills. And I don't have the business card, but the gentleman, although I didn't see him at this last game, there's a gentleman who makes handcrafted goods, kind of customizes them, embroiders cups, and I think he's the one who did these Toro cups. But I cannot remember for the life of me what his name is, what his company's name is. Yes. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry, Tim. Hashtag. But definitely come by and see us, right? Tailgate this weekend. Game is at 7. Tailgating opens up at 3 o'clock. Gates open up at 5:30. We'll be there. We'll be tailgating. We'll be serving up stuff and having a good old time. And everybody's welcome.
We'll have plenty of food, so come.
Yep.
Come hungry, come thirsty.
Yep.
We got food, we got drinks.
Yep. Come early though, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So, and I've been pretty.
We burned through our food pretty quick last week. Yeah. So.
Oh, that was the other one. Our friends over at Velada Crafted Vodka. They were kind of across from us. They have some wonderful homemade drinks there, and
they had a mango nata drink. Mm-hmm. It was really good.
Yes, and I will say their vodka is a little bit dangerous. So shout out to our friends there. It's good stuff, man. You got to watch out for it.
Yeah.
But anyways, now the rest of our group, Texas Sports Productions. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do for us. I actually ran into quite a few of the folks this weekend and got to say hi to them, which was nice because usually those guys are pretty busy and you never get an opportunity. So it was nice just having that. Keep up the good work. Love what you guys are doing. Our friends over at Pro Arena Talk for keeping us hooked up with information on all the arena teams, especially the arena team that's coming to Austin, right? So that's going to be a really interesting addition up there. Of course, Alternative Football Network, thank you guys for all of your support, everything that you guys do with us and for us. Our friends over at the X-Fan Show for continued support and even getting us started on the Toros in the first place. And then most importantly, the best shout out, besides the love of my life, Sabrina, is you fans, right? We can't do this without you guys, so we appreciate all of your support. You guys tuning in every week and putting up with us with our technical difficulties and not understanding how dial-up works and stuff like that. So, guys, thank you. Love you. Pretty much end of the show. BD, you got to sign off, or are we just going to?
No, I do. Still a little hurt from the Spurs, so I still kind of want to give a suck at New York, but I will never ever pass up a chance to say suck at Austin.
There you go. All right, we'll see you guys this weekend. Come on, catch us. Vamos Toros.